Hello everyone, I'm Amelia. Welcome to episode 1 of my knitting podcast here on Amelia Feature Knitting. Here we'll be talking about anything that is yarn related, knitting related, and the occasional crochet pieces. I guess I can start with what I'm currently wearing. This is actually a crochet piece. This is the Eternal Season cardigan by Jules Make. I put a name here. I made this out of Caron Simply Soft, and I actually regret that I did this. But in my defense, I did not know about yarn at the time, and there was a lot of learning curve because this was like of the first few wearable that I made with crochet. I guess backstory. I started crochet in 2023, and I started out with making like those like headbands and like pouches and stuff, and then I started diving into crocheting wearable in late 2023, and I really didn't put in the effort of trying to learn about yarn. I pretty much went out to Joann, touches all the yarn, and whatever felt soft in my hand, I pick it up, go home, and crochet with it. It was just not like I didn't do any research. I didn't know about swatching. I didn't know about gauging. I just wing it. Pretty much that my whole entire crochet journey is just winging it. I watch a YouTube tutorial and I just wing everything I made at the time. And thankfully it turned out really good. This turned out to be one of my favorite cardigan of all time. But I just don't love the fact that I made it out of this yarn. Oh, and also I didn't know about yarn fibers and different type of yarn fibers. And so like acrylic wool or anything like that. And so yeah, that was a whole different story. But if you can see, I washed this a couple of times now, and there's a lot of pilling that is going on. How like this fuzz, I don't know if you can see it, but it's make the cardigan a bit unsightly. I actually really love this pattern. In fact, I loved it so much that I made 3 total, 2 for myself and 1 for my sister-in-law. And unfortunately, they all made out of the same yarn. So yeah, there's that. But yeah. Today I do have a couple of finished pieces that I would love to show you, and then my WIPS of what I'm currently working on. I don't have any yarn acquisitions or any acquisitions at all today to talk about. So yeah, I guess we can dive into the finished project. Funnily, this is also a crochet project. I don't know if you can see it, but this is called the butterfly shawl. I crocheted this out of 2 cakes of Hobbii Dahlia cotton cake. And this was also one of the situations where I was just buying yarn. I found Hobbii and I thought that was heaven. I was buying yarn after yarn without even knowing what I was buying. And when I finally trying to de-stash this and trying to work with it, I realized that it was not one of those spun fiber. It was just really stringy. Like if you hold the fiber strand up, it was just like separate strand. And it was really weird. And I didn't think I could knit with it. So I chose to crochet instead. And I held 2 cake double to get this fabric. I wonder, like, you can tell like there's the pink and the yellow in the cake, like going down. But yeah, I think I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. It's actually my first shawl ever that I ever make in crochet or knit, and I think it's kind of made me fall in love with making shawl because I actually use this more often than I thought. And so I think I might actually knit myself a shawl in the future. I found a couple shawl pattern on Ravelry that I think I would love to knit, and so yeah, maybe you probably see some shawl coming from me in the upcoming future. On to the next finished object. I have this cardigan. It's called the Pado Cardigan by Shayla, or Shayla Knit Addict on Instagram. And this was made in an effort of trying to get rid of yarn. I personally would have not knitted this cardigan out. I say personally as if I didn't knit this myself. If I were to do this again, I probably would not knit this cardigan out of a variegated yarn like this, because I feel like with variegated yarn, you're kind of losing the beautiful lace texture that is on the sleeve. Like, you can't really see it very well, like with this yarn. I probably would have knitted with a solid color, just like the designer did in her sample. The reason why I use this yarn, oh, I don't think I ever said the name of the yarn. It's this Hobbii Baby Cotton Organic. It's a really long name. I'll put it somewhere on the screen. But this was another instance of me buying yarn. It's probably the same batch as the Shawl, but this was an instant of me buying yarn without really have a mind of what to do with it. And we were moving at the time, and I needed to get rid of yarn, and I figured if I don't use it then, I would never use it again. And so I knitted this with it. I don't hate it. It is not my favorite color, but I love how this turned out. I'll put a B-roll of me wearing this and showing how it looks, but I actually really like it. It's flowy, it's beautiful, and this was my first time doing I-core, and I finally understand why people hate doing I-core. And I actually started knitting the I-core for like this much, and I realized how long it was taking. So I went and bought an I-core knitting machine. And yeah, it's kind of helped me save time on knitting these two long I-core. But I did do the I-core edging, and this was my first time doing the I-core edging. And I actually really like it. I thought it was a really enjoyable process, and I think I would like to do more I-core edging in the future for my other projects, or look for projects that have I-core edging. Oh, I don't think I ever talk about the construction of this cardigan. It's a top-down cardigan, raglan style, and then you cast on the back, like the raglan cast on, and then you knit flat. Since it's a cardigan, you'll be knit flat. And then for the sleeve, you follow a chart pattern. The pattern is actually really great. She breaks down the sleeve knitting process pretty much step by steps. And then, like, especially during the raglan increase rounds, she just breaks it down for you, so you don't have to like get confused and look at chart and kind of figure out what to do and stuff. It was really well written and well explained, and I had a great time knitting this. And I think up until the sleeve is when you actually read the charts and follow that. And yeah, it was actually really easy and fast. I think I knitted this in like 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I don't exactly remember, but yeah. This is my last finished object I have for today. This is the Cornelia Cardigan by Sandnes Garn. This is actually my baby. I cannot explain to you how much I love this cardigan. It is my pride and joy, and it's the one thing that solidified me as a knitter and gave me so much confidence in myself as a knitter, because it's my first ever texture cable cardigan. I have never knitted a cable before. Oh, I guess I should tell you, I started knitting in July of 2024 last year. So I have only been knitting for about 6 months when I made this. So it was a really big accomplishment for me. And I love cable and I love texture. And it was actually quite like easier than I thought. I think like in my mind, I exaggerate cable so much more than more than it should be, and so I always hesitated. But then I saw Sandnes Garn release this cardigan, and I just went for it. Yeah, this was made out of, one second, let me check on that. I got my iPad right here to make sure I can tell you the correct information. Is this Sandnes Garn Alpakka Folgetrad? Please correct me if I know that pronunciation was horrible. And then held together with Alpakka Ull. Yeah, I'll put the name on the screen because it's better than my pronunciations of this. It is in the color 401A, Scarlet Red. And I saw this on the model of Sandnes Garn at the time, and it was so pretty that I just have to have it. And so yeah, the constructions for this cardigan is a top-down construction. So you cast on the back stitches first, and then you knit back and forth on the back, and then you pick up the left and the right shoulder, and then you connect them, you knit all the way down, connect them, and then started knitting flat for the body, pick up the stitches for the sleeve and knit the sleeve. As for the pattern, I think the pattern was fairly easy to understand for me as somebody who is a beginner knitter to understand and follow, and I didn't think it was difficult. As long as you know how to read a cable chart, you should be able to make this, and they fairly gave enough instruction. The only thing that is hard for me on that pattern was the way that they, for the chart and for like the little instructions of what to do, like the little legends that like they tell you whether you knit on the right side or purl on the right side or like knit together, etc. It was like on a different page than where the actual chart that you're supposed to do. So you kind of have to like connect the dot and figure out where it goes on the PDF. It was really weird, but it wasn't that bad. But yeah, anyway. And there's like, oh, there's 2x2 rib, which I absolutely think that it's so beautiful. I don't think I can express how much I love this, how much this is my pride and joy. I will put up a b-roll of me wearing this. Also, one of the things is I did swatch for this cardigan, but somehow I think my tensions is really tight, so it turned out to be smaller than it was intended for this size. I did knit it a size small, like the smallest size possible that is available, and it was supposed to have about 20 centimeter of positive ease, but I don't even think I have like 10. I think I have maybe like 8, maybe more than 5, but and I actually ran out of yarn than the yarn that they sent me, so I have to order more yarn. I think 1 ball more, and I only use about like maybe 25% of that ball just to finish one of the sleeve. Yeah, so I think there's my tensions were a little bit tight when I was knitting this, but it still fit, it still looks good, and I still love it. Oh yeah, and another thing for this is that if you notice under the sleeve, this is actually, should I tell you, an error. I was supposed to be purling all across, but I end up do the knit stitch all across instead, and I didn't realize it until I was watching a YouTube video of another content creator knitting this cardigan, and I saw that her under sleeve was a purl stitch all down, and then I went back and I read the pattern, and I read the pattern wrong, but I was consistent on both sides, and so I didn't want to go back because by the time I realized, I was already like more than halfway done with this sleeve, the second sleeve, so I just, yeah, nobody would know. Nobody knows, you know? Just me, but yeah. This is the Ophelia Blouse by Star Cross Knit. I am knitting this out of Knitting for Olive Pure Silk in the color Puppy Blue. This is my first time working with silk, and I actually really enjoyed it. It's actually really nice. It's really soft to knit with. I don't find that it's slippery enough that I couldn't knit it on my Chiagu needle. In fact, enjoyed it a little bit more than my wooden needle set. I find that it was stuck on the needle, and I also think it's because my tensions is tight, and so it was like really stuck on there. But with my Chiagu needle, it's slippery, so it was sliding more often. It's sliding easier, so yeah. As for the constructions of this top, you cast on the back, and then you knit back and forth into a certain length, and then you pick up the stitches for the shoulder, and then you knit to a certain length, you connect them, you knit flat in the body. Yeah. What else do I have to say about this? Oh, I love the beautiful intricate lace textures of this blouse so far. Can you see it? It's really, really pretty. I actually just finished knitting this blouse before I sat down and filmed this podcast episode. So I only have 2 sleeves left to finish before I can cast off and make it pretty. She is looking a little bit small, isn't she? I'm kind of worried. Okay, I didn't really swatch for this. In my defense, it was the same yarn as the designer and the same needle, and yeah, I don't have any other defense. I probably should have swatched because when I tried this on, it did feel a little bit tight on the underarm, but I'm really hoping that when I block it, it will block out. But we'll have to wait and see. Finger crossed, I guess. So yeah. I don't think there's much more to say about this. Also there's one thing about the silk that I noticed is like, I don't know if you can see it, but like this little ball, can I say that it's like pre-pilling? And it just came on the ball of the yarn, and as you knit it, it's like part of the yarn. I don't know if this is like normal for silk. This is my first time working with silk, so I really can't tell you. We'll just have to see as I keep wearing it and see how it turned out, but that's what I noticed so far. Oh yeah, and then there's waist shaping for this. There's waist shaping for this, so you actually knit to your bust area, the largest area of your bust, and then you start decreasing for the waist shaping, and then afterward you increases for the rest of the downward of the blouse. So yeah. My next knitted current work in progress is actually not for myself. It is for my sister-in-law. It's a birthday present that I make for her. I unfortunately, once again, I swear I swatched for this. I don't know how I run out of yarn. I think I'm not swatching correctly. I don't understand swatching. Somebody please educate me. I feel like I watched so many episodes. I bought the exact same yardage that was recommended on the pattern. I swatched my stitch gauge, I think my row gauge that is the problem, because my stitch count matches, and I don't think I ever checked my row count. Actually, I think even my row count matches with this too. I don't know. I don't know how I always manage to run out of yarn, even though I bought the exact same amount of recommended yarn for her size. And I'm knitting her at size 3. And yeah, I digress. This is the College Loops Cardigan by Other Loops. It is a beautiful shadow shoulder cardigan. This is my first time knitting a shadow shoulder constructions, and I actually really like it. It actually was really fascinating to knit. I think you start with a provisional cast on, knit half of the shadow part, and then you pick up the rest of the stitch, knit the other half. You knit some increases up until here to the shoulder part on both sides, and then you connect them all together, and then you knit like you start picking up stitches. So you pick up stitches here, and then you put stitches on this side onto the needle, and then you pick up stitches all along this edge, and then you knit this side, and then you pick up stitches, and now you have like this weird, like, not, what is this, rectangle shape, but not like a fully connected, a U shape. This weird U shape on your needle that you kind of have to maneuver. You know, if you knit shadow shoulder, you probably know what I'm talking about. But yeah, and then you knit flat, and then you also start increasing for the sleeve, and then increasing throughout for the front, and then you increase for the sleeve, and then you put the sleeve on hold, knit, finish the body, and then pick up the sleeve and do the sleeve. Yeah, that's the one. I remember it now. I'm recalling it. And then you pick up stitches and do the ribbing. Yeah, I actually really like the symbol design of this, because everywhere it just like, you know, you have one solid color, and then the ribbing, you have this beautiful like layer coloring, which you will also do that on the sleeve too. So I'm just waiting for 2 more of my purple skein to come in. And it's kind of a good thing that I ran out of yarn after doing the majority of both sleeves. So now if the dye lots is different, it will only be seen in the ribbing, and I hope it won't be too obvious, but we'll have to wait and see. Yeah, I think that's all I have for today. I don't have any acquisitions to talk about or anything like that. So yeah, thank you for joining me today. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I'm sorry if I was rambling on or was all over the place. It's my first time, so hopefully it'll get better with time. But thank you for hanging out with me today, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.